Page 10, isn't she lovely? At the top of the page, they're introducing 3 new notes for the treble clef. They say for the right hand. I disagree with that. We're going to be using the right hand to play them in this piece, but these notes are not necessarily for the right hand. They're in the treble clef. Either hand can play them. And they're below the staff. You see the little lines, call them ledger lines. Well, you know middle C is one ledger line below treble clef here. And the lines are every other note. And the spaces are every other note, but they're the other notes. Clear as mud, right? So here's middle C, 1 ledger line, then 2 ledger lines, and then 3 ledger lines. I can keep going, 4, 5, whatever. So the notes they're introducing here is the 8th, the G is right below it, space in between them, and the F. In my opinion, humble opinion, you need to memorize all of the notes on treble and bass up to 3 ledger lines above or below either staff. And the reason I say that is because if I can look at it, and I think most people can glance at like that F, that first one at the top of the page, the 3 ledger lines below. You can glance at that note in the music and you can see there's 3 ledger lines. You don't have to stop and count them. How many are there? But when you get more than 3, then you kind of start having to count them, because at least for me, I can't glance at it and know how many there are. I have to stop and figure it out. Now when I have to do that, then I take a pencil and I write in the name of the note so I don't have to keep figuring it out every time I come to it. But 3 ledger lines, I can see them, so I'm encouraging you memorize these notes. You will get them a number of times, so memorize them. How we get them in this piece, and the right hand will play them. Okay, that's fine. Now as for this piece goes, common time or 4/4 time. There's 1 flat in the key signature, so either F major or D minor. Well, look at the end, wherever the end is. Sometimes you have to look for it. And it's hard to see the way they've written the music. I don't agree with the way they've written the music, but okay, whatever. At the bottom of page 11, the last measure, you see in parentheses above the staff, fine. It's not fine, it's fine. It's Italian, it means end. In other words, those Fs you're playing at the measure, you're playing here and here, you're done. Well, that's implying an F major chord, because it's ending on the tonic or the one. It's ending on an F. To me, that tells me it's probably an F major. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to say it's an F major. Okay. I find this piece rather challenging because of the rhythm. And the fingering, some of their fingering, I don't know, I got some suggestions on fingering. Now let's just cover these chords in the right hand for the first couple of lines. Don't worry about the rhythm. I'll come back and do the rhythm when I put the hands together. So first we have the F chord here, because it is an F chord, the C's on the bottom. And the next measure, same one, you just come down to a B natural. And then you have the B flat. They put the flat sign in parentheses. It's called a courtesy sign. It doesn't need to be there. It's a flat anyway, because the rule, you cross the bar line, the accidental goes away, the natural sign goes away. But they're being clear. They're just telling you, by the way, this really is a flat here. And second line here. Then you do that again. Bottom of the page on page 10, the second measure. 1, 2, triplets, but they're triplet quarter notes. So these 3 quarter notes have to go in 2 beats. You just gotta love it. Ugh. How do we do this? Well, you kind of feel it, or if you would like, I can get technical and mathematic and all that stuff, but I'm trying to avoid that. Let's just pretend. Now I'm talking about the last line on page 10 and the second measure. Let's just pretend instead of 4/4 time, it's in 2/2 time, and you get 2 beats to a measure. So the first half note is the same as those quarter notes. That's 1 beat, 1 and, 1 and. The triplet then is on beat 2. So then it acts more like triplet eighth notes. 2 and 0, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and that kind of feeling. So it's that 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and it's just got to go over and over that feeling. And that's what we're after here. Then when you have the feeling, you can go back and think if you want 4/4 time. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. See, there's no 4 because 4 is in between our and. It's just wonderful. You gotta love it. So that measures 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. But those triplets got to be even. Don't go. That's not a triplet, or that's not a triplet. They have to be even. And when you get to the top of page 11, then it's 1, 2, 3. Now that's a dotted rhythm. 3. It's not a triplet anymore. 1, 2, 3. There, second measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. See, it's tied. And then the triplet get in. 3 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Get the idea? And this rhythm is all over the place. Third line down, you're here, 1, rest. 3 and 1. That F is a whole note. Hold it down. 1, 2, 3. So it's just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And they're saying here that's the last measure, that ugly looking chord is a C sharp, an F sharp, and a B flat, all black keys. Huh? And here you can go ahead and get up in here because they're all black keys. You don't have to fit in between them yet. Yet, keep in mind it's yet. Because you gotta have big hands to do that, and I don't know about that. So getting, again, the second measure is 1, 2, 3, and they want you to go here. I would prefer you connect it. If you can. So if your hand's big enough, do a 1, 2, 4 on that. Here, and then for the C sharp and the F sharp are whole notes. Hold them down. And then I can do a 3 on the A, and then a 4. Now if your hand's too big and you can't fit in here, then you have to do, you don't have much choice. And then slide off. Because these are whole notes, hold them down. But if you can fit in here, I recommend this fingering. This is the last measure of the third line. Is here, you're here, 4. And then a 3, 4. And then just stay on 4. Fourth line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Crossover, last line. They're saying 2. That's all right. But what is this thing at the bottom? Well, the rhythm. Let's just look at it real slowly and carefully. First measure there, half note. 1, 2, 3. 16th notes come on the end of 4. 3, 4, and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. I don't like counting all that. I know there's 2 16th notes in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the triplets going out. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. Ugh. This fingering is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 that they're showing. That's okay, but I would like to suggest maybe we do it this way. If you just experiment. And once I'm in that position, I get all the rest of those notes in this one hand position. I don't have to cross over the thumb anymore, and I don't like crossing over the thumb. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and. I do them all right here. And if I could get these in one hand position, I would, but I can't. So the last line, Now, on the first measure, I'm doing 1 and 2 and, but when I hit that note, hit gently, I immediately start thinking triplets. 1 and 2 and. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and rest. And then you go back to the repeat sign, reverse repeat sign. So that counting is a really weird, so just take your time with it over and over and over until you get it. Eventually you'll start feeling it. The left hand can help a little, but not all around. Speaking of left hand, at the beginning you're in this position, sort of. Actually, I think you're better off if you come down into this position, because you can cover all of the notes there in the first 3 lines except the last measure in this position. They're having you here with the little finger doing both. I don't see why you need that. Just go here, start with 4th finger. And then thumb. Yeah, do that. And then all that. And then at the bottom, last measure on page 10. And then you come up here, you got rest, you got time. It's C, D, G, D, C. Stay up. No. Quarter notes. This is kind of your drums that's going to keep your beat, because the rhythm in the right hand is nuts. And then top of page 11, 2nd measure, they give you the B flat in parentheses. Again, that's a courtesy sign. It's a flat anyway, but that's all right. I do it with a 2. And then, if your head's big enough, you can stay on 2. Otherwise, you can do that. You can figure it in the book, the way their book is doing it too. If you're here, they got 4, 1. That way the 5th finger's available. That's fine. Depends on how big your hands are and how thick the fingers are. Some people prefer 2nd finger. Yeah, whatever. For the most part, that's the left hand, and not a lot going on there. So let's put the hands together, tackle these first lines, because with these got triplets in here. At the beginning, you're here. 1 and 2, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See, it's 3 and 4. The triplets between the hands. So again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Just make sure you don't hold that left hand note down. It's just a quarter note or so forth. Last line. You're here. Just reach up. It's like taking a breath. And as you do that, you're simply going to move. This left hand's keeping your beat going, and you can see between the staves how the notes line up between them, so you can tell when a note in the upper staff is played at the same time as the lower, or if it's off. And like in the 2nd measure of the first line on page 11, it's because it's here. These are together, and then these, and that's before. So forth. When you get to the 3rd line, then you got whole notes in the left hand, so you got to keep the pulse going to yourself. So the 3rd line on page 11 is 2, 3, and 1 and 2 and 3. There, the last line again. Real slowly. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So I'm holding that down as I'm playing this. Just lift the hand up, because you're up here and the right hand is here. And lift up the left hand as you play the F. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and lift up when I play the F. Lift up. Yeah, Then you repeat back to the last measure on page 10. So you have to work this out really slowly and deliberately, and then go over and over and over and gradually speed it up, and eventually it starts to make sense. So forth. You can get a handle on this, and this is a tricky piece. And go back and see if we can add in the slurs. You can follow the words. The left hand, you're going to kind of play it as legato as you can. You can't because they're repeated notes. So you separate them slightly. The right hand, and then lift up, like taking a breath. So down at the bottom when it starts, see this first couple lines or so are introduction. The reverse repeat sign again, or the pickup to it, that's where the song starts. Lift up here, but try and keep this down. The slurs are kind of built in for you, with the rest helping you out on most of them. At the bottom of page 10 in the second measure, you see the little tenuto lines there for here. Linger on those, hang on to those, don't cut them short. So the line, land on them, don't play them necessarily louder, just don't cut them short. You got to come up to here, that's all right. The dynamics, we want the melody. The introduction part is both hands. Soft. Soft and gentle. And then when the piece starts, down at the bottom where the words are, you come up just a little bit to moderately soft. Left hand has to be, I suggest, very soft. It's easy to overpower. You get too loud too quickly, so make it a point to keep this left hand really very soft, pretty much through it. Now when you get down to the third line on page 11 here, you're going to crescendo up a little bit to moderately loud. Everything else got to be way under it. Crescendo at the bottom, you're going to go up to loud. My opinion, you can come down a little bit and then go back up, but you don't want to be loud to the second measure. So it's here, loud, here, that's it. And then an accent on makes that, you bring it up to loud too. And then stay loud. And it's hard to play quick and loud at the same time, so you have to judge it on that. So it's loud. And you're still loud. In the last measure, accent. So, and it's here, loud. That's the accent. And then you're back down to, come back down to moderately, well, they say moderately soft there. Because you're moderately soft where you were over at the bottom of page 10. Then we think about the speed. Well, I think that's about as fast as I've been going. You could find recordings of this, so it's something like that. Something like that. You get the idea, I hope.